Hey, what's up guys? I am super stoked because we're going backpacking this weekend for Memorial Day, and I haven't been able to make a video in a while. I've just been so down with the sickness, and you have mucus, and it's just, you wouldn't have wanted to hear anything from me. But now that I'm feeling better, I'm really excited to get out of town, and I'm really excited to announce that I've got a new piece of equipment. I've got this directional mic for the smartphone, and it's got this cool windsock thing. It's pretty windy right now actually, and so I'm hoping that the audio quality improves on my videos, and I'm excited to try and take some of these tools with me. I'm gonna see what I can get away with. We are backpacking, not car camping, so the weight thing is gonna be an issue. But today, I'm basically gutting out the car, and I am getting everything cleaned and prepared. I've got to make room for Shiloh's stuff, my stuff, and my friend's stuff, and we'll utilize the Yakima box up top. Tomorrow night we're gonna get together and do like an inventory on the food we're taking, any safety items, just make sure that we're not carrying any more than we need to, and that we have everything to be safe and have a great time for a couple of days. There we go. So I don't really know if the Rode mic's gonna work with this gimbal. It seems to throw the weight balance off, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I got it kind of finagled right now and it's somewhat working. Check it out. This is the windsock for the mic, so that when I go hiking, I'll just be able to strap that on my phone and cut out some of the wind noise. I guess the challenge I've got is I'm gonna have to find one that's Bluetooth so that it doesn't interfere with the gimbal, because the gimbal really helps stabilize the shots. Anyway, so I brought Shiloh up to the dog park so that I could go through my backpack and some of my things, but I didn't want to bore you guys with the details of cleaning the car, but check it out. Looks so snazzy inside. Spruced it all up, cleaned the windows. I even took off all the old park stickers, and over the years I've collected a lot of park passes and stuff that were expired. So I scraped them all off, cleaned it, added a fresh new sticker, some mountains on there. And yeah, now we're gonna go through my gear and just do like a preliminary check through of what I've got. That way tomorrow we can do a cross-reference with my friend and see what we need to actually purchase. Alright, so we had to relocate because the light was messing with me and the dog park was getting really busy. We're going to go through what I take backpacking. I've learned a lot over the years, and basically it boils down to weight is king. The less you take, the better. The less you take, the more you can enjoy nature. And what you really need is good clothes for the occasion, so things that are going to keep you from getting wet and cold and dry and warm. Then you also need a way to filter water, or an ability to carry enough water. Another reason to carry less weight if you have to carry more water if there's no access. And then lastly, so you got clothes, water, and then just some protection items and ability to sleep well. So I'll run you through what I currently take, and this is my kind of preferred setup. I've got a little set of Coleman camping stoves, cooking pots. They fold up. They're a little bit big. I could definitely go lighter and do a better job, but they've served purpose and I've had them for a long time. I've had this little MSR pocket stove for ever and a day, and I don't use it that often. Usually I cook on a fire, but sometimes there's fire restrictions and you got to use these, and also sometimes it's windy and it's just nice to, if you want to make a cup of coffee, just to use your cooking stove. This is not the MSR top piece. This is actually like a $12 Coleman. It's worked just fine, and it barely weighs anything more than the $75 MSR piece. So this is the water filter that I used last year, and they're only $30 or so, and I don't know if you can keep them longer than one season. I tend to just replace them every year because I'm kind of weird about the microbes in the water, and it's $30, so over a 2-week bout of illness with Giardia or some other weird river parasite, I'd rather just get a new filter. But I really love these Sawyer filters. They're almost disposable. I used to carry around an MSR, $100 setup, and it was nice. It was a really nice pump, If I was going to be camping somewhere for a long period of time, or if I had a cabin somewhere, I would definitely invest and use one of those kind of filters. But for a 2 or 3 day trip, these are really lightweight, disposable, easy to replace. Can't go wrong. This is my Bear Grylls knife. Had this bad boy forever and a day. It's got some cool features to it. It's got a little flint stick on it. I think there's some survival instructions on the back. It's just a nice big knife. I take that thing with me everywhere. That's kind of my main protection. I don't carry a gun. What I do bring most of the time in Colorado is a can of bear mace. That's a really great piece of protection for all kinds of things. I mean, it's good in the event of animals. It's good if a person is harassing you. You know, bear mace will take care of about anything. And it's pretty lightweight as well. So these are my ditty bags. I use them. I use the biggest one for clothing and jackets. I use the mid-size generally to hold odds and ends. So I'll pack like my hammock in there, sometimes the pots, just whatever makes sense. And then I use the smaller one for, what am I trying to say? Safety kits. And this is what probably needs a little bit of work this year. Gosh, I've had this little safety bag for forever. I've never used it, but it's one of those things that should you need it, you really don't want to get caught without it. It's kind of important. I also learned to start carrying these little hiking blister patches. There's just far too many times when I go on a nice hike and it's harder than I imagined. If you end up getting a blister and you're backpacking and carrying weight, it is a miserable time and you've got no choice but to hike out. So those are pretty clutch just in case. I found them to be most effective when I'm going like 15 miles plus. Oh yeah, there's my camping saw. You guys have seen that before. I take that because it just makes firewood so much easier to deal with. This right here was a thrift store find, a Super Score. The little Thermarest pillow folds down into a real small space. I've enjoyed using that. This is a water, it like protects your backpack from rain. I've only used it maybe once, but when you do get caught in a rainstorm, it sucks when your pack gets completely drenched. Then you have to open everything up, take it all out, let it air dry. You don't want things getting moldy. So I do carry one of those, super lightweight. This I've really been torn on. Honestly, I can't say if I recommend them or not. They are super light. It's a pad to sleep on that's inflatable. I've had it for several years and I've taken it on almost every trip. But what I can say is I don't really get that great a sleep on it. I mean, yeah, it's kind of clutch in the event of rocks, but it's not quite big enough. It's weirdly shaped and I'm just torn, I'm torn on whether or not the space and the weight is worth it. I would almost rather take my bets and, I've really discovered a lot of ways to make a comfortable bed sleeping outdoors. You can use pine needles, you can use dry brush and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of ways to make a comfortable bed. And I don't know, I've got these lightweight backpacking chairs that I don't actually have with me. I realize they're at the camper, but they're about the same size, little bitty tripod chairs, and I would almost rather substitute the weight for one of those because when there's nowhere to sit, like once I was camping when it was still in the middle of mud season, and there was just nowhere good to sit my butt down. Everywhere was wet, everywhere was covered in like mud and mold, and so the chair seems to be pretty clutch. The sleeping pad I'm not so sure on. All right, what down here? So this is my Marmot Trestles 15-degree sleeping bag. It's synthetic, it's pretty lightweight, gets the job done. I've had no complaints over the years. And then this is my tent. Can't remember the brand exactly. It's I think it's Alps Mountaineering, and it's a 2-person tent. It's just got a rain fly and kind of a bug net shell. So very lightweight, and when it's super hot, you can take the rain fly off and you kind of get to sleep under the stars. So there's 3 pieces to that. It's the tent, the stakes, and the poles to it. And then this is my bag. It is, gosh, what kind of bag is this? Oh yeah, a Deuter. Sorry, gimbal. This is a Deuter bag that I got a long time ago in Missouri, actually. Osprey is my favorite bag, and I use them for my day pack. If I ever end up getting a new bag, I'll probably invest in an Osprey, but this Deuter bag has been great. And no complaints. It's a little bit chunky compared to some of the new ones that have come out. The new ones are fly, dude. Like, talk about lightweight and the suspension and the air on your back. It's really, really dope. So I probably will end up investing in a new one, but it's one of those things that until $300 is just sitting around, I have a perfectly usable backpack that's great. So that's what I do for my backpack. And then this is my bear canister. It's required in a lot of places in Colorado. It's also just a good idea. Whether or not you run into a bear, the odds of having little varmints and rodents is more likely. Okay, so I don't know where that got messed up. My gimbal lost its positioning and the camera went all wonky, but basically what I was saying was the bear canister, I just think it's kind of a nice piece. It adds a little bit of weight, yes, but it does keep you safe in the parks that require it. It prevents bears from getting in your food. It's easy to keep everything together, and it, like I said, more often than not, the problem you've got is like mice and rodents and squirrels and little guys, critters and raccoons, and they can't get into that thing. So that's my general backpacking setup. What I would add to this, like once I go get my supplies and we do our finished way out, obviously I'm gonna have my clothing, which has weight consideration. I'm gonna go top off pieces to that to my safety kit. I think like some of the stuff in there is really old and needs replacing. I just carry like a little bottle of hydrogen peroxide. I think I need to probably replace the little thing of Neosporin. I don't really like using that stuff, but when you're out in the wilderness, it's a good idea to just disinfect when you get a cut or something and prevent that kind of stuff, because depending on how long you're out, you really don't want to be coming down with any kind of weird wilderness illness. And then obviously food. So I'll have to attach that to another video or maybe do a different one sometime, but the food that I like to take is also very simple. I like to carry sweet potatoes, small grains like quinoa, not usually rice. Rice is kind of a pain in the ass and it's sticky to clean up, but quinoa cleans up great and it's easy to cook. And then nuts and seeds, stuff like that. I try to take the power packed foods. I eat less when I'm backpacking and focus more on water and dense foods, and then, you know, bars and stuff, Lar bars, Cliff bars, kind of subsist on that. I can get by for 2 or 3 days before my stomach completely hates me, and you know, it gets the job done. Sometimes I'll take a bag of Brussels sprouts. Those are really nice, but you really need foil or cast iron for those, so it depends. Sweet potatoes are clutch. You can pack foil, which is super light, the potatoes ultra filling, and just bring salt and pepper. I don't even bring any oil or anything. So that's about it. I think the only thing I forgot was my hammock. This Eno hammock, definitely not a necessity, but so clutch when you're out and you got these hot days with nothing to do. Those things are awesome. So I don't think I missed anything. In the back there, you can see that's my car camping bag or dry, whatever, like different kind of camping when I've got my vehicle accessible. That's got all my fancy extras, you know, bug sprays, and don't get me wrong, I'll take bug spray backpacking. I'll just buy the little trial size, the little guys. That's got my other things like, let's just go over here. So here's my climbing shoes, my river shoes. I might actually bring these on this trip. There's something that's worth mentioning. I always take the hiking boots that I have to hike in, but then usually I'll bring one other pair of shoes, like either my breathable, you know, more like Solomon hikers. These are way more comfortable during the day than like a big pair of hiking boots, but they're not waterproof, and you know, so, or sometimes like a pair of sandals, or in this case, we're going to be near a river. These might be really clutch. So that's those are the things I try to save the weight equation for. These are yak tracks for when it's snowy, and like what, I got some cooking tongs and foil, wet wipes, bigger pan. Ooh, here's something that I'll take, so I'll add this to the mix. This is my little tea and coffee mug. I love these little guys. REI so clutch. That's really handy. What else we got in here? So here's my MSR, my old water pump. You see how big it is? I mean, it's just a lot of moving parts, and also this thing is like probably 5 or 6 years old at this point. I don't really want to go through the hassle of cleaning the gaskets and doing all that. So yeah, there's just odds and ends, binoculars, ponchos, all kinds of extras. So, you know, this is my core setup, and I'll adjust little things based on the weather. So the shoes, the clothes, whether I bring a poncho, a jacket, whether I'm, you know, sporting a tank top and nothing else, all that stuff depends on the weather and the time of year, but this is my core set of items that I take. So I hope that was enjoyable. I will try to make another video tomorrow night when we are a little bit more put together in anticipation of the road trip. Super fun, stoked. Where we're going, it's gonna be one of two places. We're either gonna go down to 4 Mile Canyon, or we're going to go most likely to Lost Creek Wilderness. There's a trailhead called Goose Creek, and I've been there before. It's easily and accessible. There's about a 20-mile round trip, bunch of canyons, a river. It's one of the easier backpacking trips, and really looking forward to it. So I will talk to you guys then. Peace.